Well, it's another beautiful day in Maple Ridge, BC. Train the muscles, not the joints. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about appetite and how to get the... So I recently had somebody email me and ask about appetite, and that he can't get his appetite up, he can't eat enough, and he's depressed because he can't get the food in, you know, in order to train, and it's sapping his motivation, all that kind of stuff. So basically what I want to do is give you a few tips here about how to increase your appetite. So tip number one is clean up your diet. I'll get a venti, no fat, no whip, no syrup, no sugar, no chocolate, no flavor mocha. So start just using the appetite that you do have for the food that is going to help you grow and help you meet your goals, instead of just throwing in random stuff. Like I talked to a guy in the gym a while ago, and actually I just wrote up a diet for him. He basically was eating 4 or 5 chocolate bars a day, along with eating everything else just randomly throughout the day, and protein shakes, and then you have a lot of milk and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But he wasn't actually designing his eating based on what his goals were. So a lot of times he didn't have the appetite left over in order to eat the foods that were needed in order for him to grow. And then he'd say, I don't have an appetite. Well, I'm like, well, if you weren't eating all that other stuff, you would have had the appetite, because you were wasting your appetite on the wrong types of foods. Okay, so the first thing is clean up your diet. Now you're gonna say, how do I clean up my diet? Well, it's either a lower fat diet or a lower carb diet. Well, that's not on the low carb diet. And you eat enough protein, which is the 1 gram per pound of body weight for lean muscle mass, somewhere around there, okay? So for me, for instance, I'm a 200 pound guy, perhaps 160, 170 grams of protein per day is really what my requirement is. And I must eat that first. That is the most important thing to eat, and then everything else is extra, okay? So you make sure you're getting in what your body needs to recover, okay? So you start eating more broccoli, more greens. You'll notice that stuff doesn't fill you up, but it fills you full of nutrition as well. And you're eating your protein. Now, yes, you do have your carb meals or your fat meals, whatever it is, depending on what kind of structure of diet you're on or nutrition program, but you make sure you make your protein and your muscle building foods the first priority, and the fats and the carbs, they're almost treated like treats. You almost treat them like treats, like they're not necessarily important for you to get in, not as important as the protein and as the vegetables, okay? So that's the first thing you do, clean up your diet. Now after a few days of doing this, you'll notice your appetite will start to raise a little bit, and then you might be able to put in a little bit more energy foods here and there if you want, right? I'm not saying stay low carb forever or stay low fat forever, but what I'm saying is this will help you start to fine tune how you're using your appetite. So it's not so much as increasing your appetite, it's more about using your appetite in the most efficient way. That's the best way to put it, okay? So tip number 2, avoid stimulants or any coffee type products and things with caffeine, okay? Now I know this is like, whoa, you know, hey, how am I gonna go without my caffeine? I'm not saying that caffeine is a problem. I'm not saying if it's naturally occurring in your coffee or whatever that it's a problem. I drink coffee, I know what that's like. But if you're losing your appetite, this means that you need to get rid of anything that might be suppressing this, and caffeine is a great appetite suppressant. So bear that in mind. If you're drinking caffeine all the time to kind of get the energy, really what you might have is a blood sugar problem because you're not eating enough and you're trying to compensate with caffeine. So eliminate caffeine from your diet. Eliminate it at least for a period of 2 or 3 weeks, just so you can kind of start efficiently using your appetite in order to grow muscle, right? So avoid caffeine. So tip number 3, okay, and this one is underrated by those overachievers in the world, okay, because there are a lot of people out there that are the type A personality. They're like, I gotta be king of the world, I gotta have 1 million buildings of real estate that I gotta run a big corporation, then I have to have muscle mass and abs and everything all by Sunday. You know what I mean? Like 4 or 5 days. Basically what you wanna do is make sure that you're not spreading yourself too thin. And one of the ways that this will manifest is lack of sleep. So you can't be one of these guys that's like getting 3 or 4 hours sleep a night and think that somehow your appetite and your recovery is gonna be good, okay? So make sure that you sleep enough. If you're not sleeping enough, that will definitely suppress your appetite. So if you're undergoing a lot of stress in your life and your cortisol levels are really high and all this kind of stuff and you're not sleeping at night, try to find a way to relax. You know, whether it's a meditation practice or whether it's a relaxation of some sort, whether you got to go to massage therapy, whatever it might be, you can work hard, but then you must rest in order to recover. These have to be in balance. And if it's too out of balance, if you're too much go all the time, your appetite is going to go down, because when you're sleeping, that's when your body starts to be able to receive and be able to recover. And then I noticed when my sleep is good, my appetite's much better. If I go with no sleep, then my appetite hits the floor. So tip number 4 is avoid super intense cardio. If you're doing super intense cardio all the time, you will notice that your appetite will be suppressed amazingly. There have been studies on this, and I noticed this when I was playing hockey. When I was playing hockey 3, 4, 5 nights a week, you know, skating hard, really sweating, you know, for about an hour, 45 minutes, what would happen is that I would not be able to eat as much food as usual. I mean, I'd be able to eat some junk food and not get fat, but I noticed that I'd also be losing muscle because my body was more in catabolic mode. It was basically eating itself up. It wasn't in building mode. And when it's in anabolic or building mode, then it will crave food and want food to come in order to build tissue. Okay, so if you're in a super intense cardio mode where you're burning off tissue all the time and you're upping your cortisol levels and you're basically on the border of overtraining, you will notice that your appetite will go down. You might be overtraining. You might be overtraining. You might be overdoing something in your life. So again, this boils down to the relaxation principle. You may need some more relaxation. You might need to take some rest for a bit and then see if this stimulates your system and helps your digestive system get going again and starts your body to start being able to receive food and recovery and basically get out of that fight or flight response. Because when you're in a fight or flight response or an emergency sort of situation, the last thing your body will be thinking about is recovery. It's thinking about just getting the heck out of Dodge or getting the heck out of a dangerous situation, right? So when you create that fight or flight response in your body, it's really a stress response. And when you're in stress, your body's not in a good recovery mode. At that point, it's breaking down because it's saying, I need energy to get away from a predator or get away from some sort of danger, right? So the final tip I'm gonna give you is really in alignment with cleaning up your diet, but it's more fine-tuning that principle, okay? So what it is avoid anything that is an unnatural carb. This means breads, pastas, and change your carbohydrate source to like the yam, the potato, the brown rice, you know, this sort of thing, so that you clean up your carb source, and also avoid dairy. Okay, because dairy can really fill you up and sometimes it takes a little while to digest. So if you have a cup of milk, it's a good appetite suppressant. It'll suppress the crap out of your appetite. It's not necessarily the best muscle building agent, although I have milk and stuff, I'm not against it. But if you're suppressing your appetite, if you don't have an appetite, then avoid dairy, avoid pasta and bread. Making your carb sources and your food choices really natural, or the most natural you can make them, will increase your body's ability to digest them and to move them through your system. So I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you increase your appetite and increase your training, and ideally you will get leaner and bigger from applying these principles, especially if you're noticing you're not eating enough, okay? If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks for tuning in and thanks for sharing my stuff. Take care for now.